Hey everyone, happy Friday. So, I wanted to okay, here we go. I wanted to go live to answer your questions that you were dropping in the group and all about how to find clients. Now, total disclaimer, I'm working on borrowed time here. My youngest is currently occupied where I can see him. Don't know how long that's going to last. So, I'm going to dive into the five main ways I have found clients, what I find works really well. And then I'm going to pull up your questions and answer them. So, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. So, there are 4 to 5 ways that I have found clients that I've found have worked really well. Okay, so number one is probably my favorite, but it might not be everybody's, and that's okay. There's something for everybody. So number one is going to be leveraging social media groups. Okay, so these are groups you join where your ideal client hangs out in. So let's just say, for example, you work with business coaches or wellness coaches. Okay, right? So you would go and find some of those groups that they are in. Now, here's the catch though. A lot of those groups you cannot promote like your services in. So what I have found to be super effective is going in there and like building relationships. So when your ideal client asks the group a question, right? And you know the answer because that's what you help your clients with, then you're going to go in there and say, oh, hey, I help my clients with this all the time. This is what I recommend. Okay. You're not saying, come work with me. You're not saying, hire me, buy my thing. No, you're just saying, oh, hey, I help clients with that all the time. This is what I recommend. Or here are the do's and don'ts, right? You're just building that relationship with them. And then as you interact with more posts like that, the algorithm will show you more and you can go in and comment on more posts like that. There are also some groups out there that have job op posts. So what you do is you could search, there's usually hashtag job op. And what you can do is like search that group, and if something like meets your if you think you'd be a good fit, so it's your ideal client and it's your service that you offer, then you can go ahead and either sometimes they'll give you a link to apply, sometimes they'll just say message me. Now what I recommend is if you checked off the list, okay, it's a health and wellness coach and they need a virtual assistant. That's what I do. Check. Then you can comment, hey, whatever their name is, and tag them. Hey, name. Hey, Susie. I'm a virtual assistant. I would love to learn more about your specific needs to see if we'd be a good fit to work together. Do you mind if I message you? Okay. Or do you mind sharing more? Now, sometimes those posts will say, do not message me. So don't ask them to message them if it says don't message me. But you could say, do you mind sharing more? So that's one way for leveraging social media. The next thing is going to be a platform called Upwork. You may have heard of it. It's a freelancer platform. So basically what they do, or what it is you have businesses and entrepreneurs that go in there and say, hey, I need a virtual assistant, or hey, I need a content writer or a marketer or social media management or a web designer. There's literally thousands of opportunities on there. And what you do as a freelancer, you can make a profile and build it out. And what you can do is you can search by keywords. So maybe you're a content writer for the tech industry. So you could say tech content writer, and you can pull up those jobs. And you can see, what the price range that, or their budget that they want, and make sure it's aligned with what, makes sense for you. And then So yeah, leveraging Upwork. Now the caveat with Upwork is they're bringing you all these awesome potential clients. So when you get paid, they do take, I want to say it's 10% off the top because they provided the marketing for you, right? Like they sourced the potential clients. So that's the next thing. Then you have 3 is you can attend local events, or virtual events. For me personally, that is not something I currently do at the moment because I have 3 kids under the age of 5 and I'm a stay-at-home mom. It just doesn't, the scheduling just doesn't work. But you can go there and really be intentional when you go there to those events. So it's not just like, hey, let's all get together and network and have drinks and then never speak to each other again. You're going to want to, when you're going to those events, if that's something you're doing, you're going to want to find people, like exchange contact information, exchange an email, and then 48 hours later or so, hey, so-and-so, we met at this networking event. I'd love to get together for a coffee chat or something like that, right? Okay, so we talked about Upwork, we talked about networking, we talked about social media groups. Okay, then the next one is going to be cold pitching. And I usually see the deer in headlights, like, oh my gosh, no, stop, I don't want to do that. I get that all the time, but when I tell you, so I have made $75,000 in counting in my freelance business. Okay, the majority of my clients have come from cold pitching, at least in the beginning. Now I kind of get referrals as I've built my business up. In the beginning, the majority of them came from cold pitching. I just want you to let that sink in. So this is not emailing businesses and saying, hey, buy my thing, hey, use my service. No, okay, you're going to do that strategically. You can reach out to businesses and, it could be somebody local. Maybe you go to the local tea shop or chiropractor or something and you get emails, but it's sporadic and you're a content writer. And here comes my toddler. And you get, and you're like, oh, I could totally help them write their email. So you could email the owner and say, hey, I'm on your email list. I love getting your emails. I noticed they're super inconsistent. I'm actually a content writer and I specialize in helping businesses with their email list. I love to chat. If you were open to it or something like that, right? Okay, so it's like, hey, I'm solving your problem. And then the last way is that's a fabulous way to get clients is going to be, you okay, bud? Yeah. Okay, is going to be using your warm network. So those are people you know. And again, this is not like slimy, hey girl, I'm a virtual assistant now, you should hire me. This is not that. It's not that. We can be super strategic about how we do this. And I just did this for one of my friends that was looking for more clients. So I reached out to somebody and I was like, who I thought might have work. And I just said, hey, so-and-so, I thought of you. I have a friend that's looking for more content writing clients, and I know you have an agency, so I didn't know if maybe, what did I say? I didn't pitch to her. I said, I didn't know, I know you're you have a large network because you have an agency. Do you know of anybody that, that is looking for somebody like that? And she's like, oh, yeah, let me spread it to my network. And if it's for you, you could say, hey, business owner friend, hey, Ashley, I just started out as a VA. I'm so excited. And I know that you are in the small business entrepreneur realm and you have a lot of contacts there. So I don't know, so if you know of anybody that might be interested in my virtual assisting, I would be so grateful for an introduction. So like, do you see how you're not asking them for the business? You're asking them for help. And I've done this before, and I've actually had people say, oh yeah, I need help. And then, we go from there. So hopefully that is like the 5 main ways to find clients. I'm going to pull up the questions I got so I can make sure to answer them. Okay. So do you go to local networking? So Sherry wants to know if I go to local networking events like the chamber or BNI groups. So she finds it hard to go with the kids and their schedules. She gets lots of connections, but they're always trying to sell to her instead. She's debated direct messaging businesses, but she knows how annoying it can be when you're the receiver of those messages, right? So Sherry, what I would say is, no, I do not go to those in-person networking events. I have 3 kids under the age of 5. It's chaos here. I love it, but it's chaos. So I don't go. Now, networking online, I think is important, but I think it's important to be strategic. So really narrowing down who your ideal client is, like who is your ideal client and what your service is, and then joining those groups online that fit into your ideal client and the service you're offering. And then I would say, as far as direct messaging businesses, maybe I haven't found like DMing businesses like on Facebook or Instagram to be super like successful for me, or because like a lot of times those go in the message requests. What I would do is I would email. I would search for for example, I used to do human resources. So when I first got into like switching from a virtual assistant to a content writer, I really leveraged HR. So what I would do is like Google HR consulting firms, New Orleans, and literally all over the country, because the beauty of an online business is like you can do it anywhere. I've had clients in Pennsylvania, I've had clients in New York, I've had clients in Washington, right? So just Google like your niche, I guess, and then you can usually find emails on their website. And then you can kind of email, just be like, hey, do you ever outsource your work to freelancers? I'd love to help you tackle projects quickly and efficiently, or hey, I notice your blogs are inconsistent on your website. I'm a content writer that specializes in HR blogs. I'd love to help you with that. Or, and then you can say, hey, if you want, let's jump on a quick coffee chat. So that's what I would recommend, Sherry. And let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Okay, let's see. Casey says she would love to hear about the networking stuff outside of the more formal groups. I don't find I fit in a traditional BNI. I feel you, girl. I don't either. I've been to those and I'm like, it's too stuffy for me personally. No shade to anybody else, right? Like if that's your thing and you have found success with it, I am cheering for you. It just wasn't for me. So you like do more social networking groups and mingle. Let's see. Have I found luck with that type of thing? So Casey, to be totally honest with you, I haven't really gone to a networking event since like since my oldest was, gosh, I don't even know. It's been a while. But what I can tell you is, yes, meeting people is key, and it's good to do what you're most comfortable with. So I would say if like you find that is what you are super comfortable with, then go for it. And when you're doing that, be strategic about it. So like, don't just go and have fun and then not talk to people again, or wait till the next networking event to like talk to them. Get an email address, get a phone number, get something. And then what you want to do is like set up I call them coffee chats. Could be, just kind of like following up. And it really depends on your freelance service that you're offering too. But really just being strategic and following up. Because I did virtual events. Because my oldest was like born and 6 months later COVID hit. So like I did a lot of virtual networking events. So that's what I found luck doing, just like following up. Hey, let's have a chat. And that's what you can do. You could say, hey, like, as you're doing the coffee chat with them, kind of let them tell you about their business, let them kind of give you the pain points. And then if you think it's a good fit, then you can be like, hey, well, I'm actually a virtual assistant or a content writer or whatever. I help clients with this all the time. Let me know, I'd be more than happy to look at that or help you with that. And then you can kind of go from there. Okay. Let's see, Casey, you also want to know what type of portfolio do you build to share with clients and how to establish credibility with them. This is so important because a portfolio is key. So what I would say is it really depends on your freelance service. And I know I hate that answer. It depends. I hate that answer, but it's so true. It depends on your freelance service that you're offering. Because if you're a virtual assistant, it might be it's going to be hard to give them samples of versus mine, which is content writing and creative design. That's easy for me to pull together samples, right? But if I'm a virtual assistant and I'm doing schedule management or organizing an email inbox, I can't really put that in a portfolio. So what I recommend is if you are doing something like that where it's going to be hard to give an example, is really talk about the problem you solve and how you solve it. What is it like to work with Casey? Okay. I don't know your service. So, if you comment under here and when you go back and watch, and you let me know, I can kind of give you some guidance, but, I would say it really talk about what it's like to work with you. Show them that, tell them the problems you solve for businesses, right? So what are you solving? Are you a virtual assistant who is, managing email inboxes or keeping them organized? So you can talk about I make my clients' lives easier so that they can focus on the things they love in their business instead of that pesky back-end tedious office stuff, right? If you're a content writer, social media manager, you can share samples. You can share metrics if you have a client and they have allowed that. So I just caveat, okay? Make sure you have permission. And even if you don't have clients, you can still do mock-ups of these things. You could still say you want to do Canva design. You could still do a mock-up of social media graphics, right? To show them, because it's still your work, okay? I also, if you want, there is a training. It's pinned. I want to say it's pinned in the guide too, where it talks all about a portfolio. And there's a template with it. So feel free to check that out if you want, to kind of give you some more insight. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me see. I think that was it. I had somebody DM me, so let me just check really quick. Aaron DM'd me. Okay, so how do you actually get the job? So do you have to apply? So Aaron, when I talked about Upwork, that is something you're, I guess, quote unquote, applying for because you submit a proposal. Somebody says, hey, I need a health and wellness content writer, or hey, I need a tech VA, and you submit a proposal for that. Again, so that kind of just depends. And then if you're in those groups with job opportunity postings, they usually have a way to apply. Usually it's a Google Forms or something. Sometimes you can message them. It really, every post, everybody's preference is going to be different when they're looking for somebody. So you just really have to check out those posts and see. But a lot of times it's like a little form that's quick and easy to fill out, or it's like, hey, send me a message. So, and then let's see, what is the process and where do I find the freelance jobs? Okay, so yeah, we talked about Upwork, we talked about social media group. Erin, if you know of anybody that is a small business owner, you can take that approach and use your warm network and say, hey, I just started doing, you didn't say what your service was in here, but so like say you're a virtual assistant or a content writer. Hey, I just started being a content writer, and I know you have a lot of friends in the business world. So if you know of anybody that needs content writing, I'd be forever grateful for an introduction. Okay, like so something like that. And then as far as cold pitching, same thing. Really like Googling your niche. So say you are a like social media manager for an online business coach. So you could kind of like Google online business coaches and like scour the internet to see. And you can definitely, shoot them an email and say, hey, do you ever outsource to freelancers? I'd love to, or like, I noticed you have a social media group. I know how tedious that can be. I actually help my clients with this all the time. I'd love to chat, more about how I could help you, yada, yada, yada. And this is all just off the top of my head, y'all. I have like scripts and stuff that I use. And those are also in the guide too, if you want to check them out. But, so this is just kind of off the top of my head, but that's how. So I would say sometimes you can apply like on Upwork, or if somebody says, hey, I have a job opportunity, and then, but if you're reaching out to people, you're probably not going to apply. So I guess it's kind of 50-50, and it really just depends on what you're comfortable with. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions. Thank y'all for submitting those. Before I hop off, I do want to just remind you, if you have not grabbed your spot for the How to Make $1,500 by the end of summer, only working 10 hours a week or less, make sure you grab it. It's going to be amazing. It's a free event, free virtual event, guys, free virtual event. And I'm going to be breaking down how you can do this. So like you can have $1,500 by the end of summer. Like it's literally what I do during the summer. I am breaking it down step by step so that you know how to do it, and you can still like be that present mom. And like for me this morning, I took my kids to the park, totally unplanned. It was kind of a mess because it was unplanned, but like my daughter had her like Minnie Mouse high heels on, and I was like, oh, we should have probably planned that better. And then we didn't have swimsuits for the splash pad, but we made it work. It was fun. It was like such a good, fun memory making experience, and I got to do that. And I'm still like, I did client work yesterday afternoon, like while they were playing in the backyard and the baby napped. Or, my husband got home and was able to take them for a few minutes while I finished up. Like, it's just such a game changer. It's such a game changer. It would be like a disservice for me not to share it with you. So that's why I'm so excited. I hope you grab your free spot. If you need that link, drop a me and I will be happy to send it your way. Again, the class is completely free. I'm so excited. Like, let's do this. And I hope everybody has a wonderful long weekend. See y'all next week.